Okay, I'm Giulia MANZO, and today I present this work, Paleopathological Study of Medieval Inhabitants of Ferrara, Italy. First of all, I want to introduce you the bioarchaeology of urbanization. The medieval period saw increasing urbanization with the development of more heavily structured town focused around market center. Bioarchaeological study have produced variable results. The impact of urbanization on past human remains have certainly been influenced by a local socio-cultural condition. Generally, living within a urban center undergoing gradual urbanization could have repercussion on the sample, the spread of the infection and certain types of disease. Meanwhile, rural life has a negative impact on the stress indicators, such as physiological and mechanical factors, which are also linked to work activity. The study deals with the paleopathological analysis of a sample of individuals who lived in Ferrara during the 14th century. The main objective is to identify the effect that living in a large urban center may have had on the sample. Okay, the site of Piazzetta San Nicolò is located in the urban center of Ferrara, in front of the ex-church of San Nicolò erected in the 12th century. In this site, several earth tombs and an ossuary have been found, dating back to the 14th and 15th century. The samples consist of 17 burials and a minimal number individual of 18 found in the ossuary. Okay. After defining the biological profile, the study focused on the health status. The method used included those for recording enthesopathies, the degree of healing and severity of cribrorbitalia and porotic parostosis, manual of paleopathology, and lower studies for the differential diagnosis. Okay, the sample presents various types of lesion. They can be grouped into joint lesion, mechanical stress, physiological stress, and infection. Okay, the individual from San Nicolò generally seems to be predisposed to degenerative joint disorder, such as osteoarthritis, like this. And some individuals also present small nodes, hernia, laminar screw spike, that's ossification the flavium ligament, and enthesopathies. These can be associated with the traumatic events, load stress, and certainly linked to the type of occupational activity. Okay. A lesion that is closely related to periods of physiological stress, such as nutrition deficiencies or metabolic disorder, is a dental hypoplasia. Okay. In our case, the onset age varies from 2 to 5 years old. Some, however, present lesion from cribroorbital and porotic parostosis. These lesions are associated with anemia or non-specific inflammation, some vitamin deficiencies, such as vitamin C and D. Some individuals present markers of infection, peristy in the ribs, cavitation, pitting in the vertebral bodies, lytic lesion on the manubrium, and mastoiditis. Individual ZEDDA 28 had a complex pathological picture, also presenting endocrinical pitting, called inflammatory pitting, which required careful differential analysis to arrive at the possible diagnosis. The individual ZEDDA 28 had a complex the individual affected by a pathology similar to a viral eye infection, and specifically all the highlighted markers point to tuberculosis. Also noteworthy is the finding of a small circular lesion in a recto patella. In this case, a differential diagnosis was performed with the help of CT imaging and a comparison of published paleopathological data. It turned out to be an osteoidostoma. This is a bean tumor. Okay. Several non-metric trains were also identified, some related to heavy tasks performed during life, like suprascapular ligament ossified and coroclavicular conoid joint. Okay, the sample present highly variable pathologies. We expected to define the pathological aspect related to urban life. Instead, we found variable data, identifying some individual in a life closely related to a rural environments, and individual with typical traits of urban life. Historical and bibliographic data can help us. Okay. The various mechanical stress encountered, such as entisopathy and small hernias, and the various joint pathology seems to suggest that the individual from San Nicolò carried out rather heavy tasks. Indeed, in Ferrara, during the 30th, 50th century, various types of tasks were attested. In addition to some wealthier family who played the role of vassals under the Este family, excluding the nobility, the task of the Ferrarese were jobs such as notaries, shopmaker, blacksmith, apothecaries, barbers, doctor, and so on. It is not to know how many citizens of lower social class is worked in agriculture in the countryside, but heavy agricultural work is still attested in the area since 96% of the familiares residing in Ferrarese area were engaged in sharecropping and laboring in the countryside. Furthermore, the evidence of vitamin deficiencies is not lacking, typical of a modest living condition, in which food availability is not always granted or adequate. It seems useful to mention in this context a paleobotanical study carried out on medieval lowland damscards throughout the city of Ferrara. From this study, it appears that this population consumed cabbages, vegetable, pumpkin, cereals, legume, dried fruit, and various types of fruit, such as cherry, pears, melon, grapes. This data, together with the presence of cavities in the sample, could indicated that the Ferrarese population enjoyed a good variety of nutrient-rich and vitamin-rich food. However, it is not possible to know the quantity of available food, and it must also be taken into account that there were less affluent social classes that could not afford a varied and nutritious diet. Observing the pathological picture of some individuals, it could be hypothesized in general that this individual contracted a viral infection, but the only individual who present more traits related to tuberculosis is individual ZEDDA 28. In general, in these historical periods, in the Ferrarese area, malaria present in almost all Italy, and certainly the plague, also tested in Ferrara discontinuously from 1348 to 1630, were common disease.
Giulia, sorry, 1 minute left, okay?
Okay. Okay. It should be noted, however, that little information is available on the presence or absence of tuberculosis before the 18th century. Okay, in conclusion, the population of San Nicolò was influenced by the socio-economic condition of the urban center of Ferrara. Its population likely belonged to middle lower social classes, and the living condition of these individuals, such as nutrition and work activity, have been influenced by their health status. Similarly, life in a city undergoing a continuous urbanization has affected the infection disease contracted. For the future, it will certainly be interesting to expand the data on this population who lived in the urban center of Ferrara in order to increase the bioanthropological data on the variability on these historical periods. Thanks for your attention, and I would like to thank the ABOP team for inviting me, and my research group, Jessica Mongillo, Nicoletta ZEDDA, and Barbara Bramanti for the help in this work.